South Harmon. It's Matty Kiwoom. Welcome to another episode of The Game Plan. You may notice a little something different about the whole setup. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am in South Carolina visiting Cody Carpentier, and he was nice enough to let me use his setup. Now, I was a few minutes late because, well, I'm an idiot. Couldn't figure out exactly how to get everything dialed in, and I still don't know if I have it dialed in. So if the audio sounds terrible, let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know. But today is a week 6 preview. If you're seeing the title of the show, we're going to be just diving into all week 6 stuff. Of course, I'm going to be all over the place. It's uh, not going to be your normal game plan. It's not going to be as structured and has just kind of be talking about week 6, some of my thoughts on week 6, some of the matchups I'm attacking, some of the players I'm excited about. We'll go over some of my rankings talk, all that good stuff. But first, of course, we need to start the show with a little bit of update, some news, some notes, what came out overnight, how we're playing, some of the news that's dropped, all that good stuff. So let's start out in Vegas with a pair of Los Angeles Raiders. It seems as if Zamir White is considered a long shot to play today. Not looking like he is going to suit up, but who cares? He has really been a huge disappointment this season. We kind of were hoping that dude was going to be at least an RB2. He was going to get all the juicy early down work for the Raiders, and he's just kind of fell flat on his face. And now all of a sudden, we're back into the whole time is a flat circle conundrum because Alexander Madison, anyone? You know what I'd like to see though? I'd love to see Dylan Lobb get a chance. We did not see him get on the field last week when he was out, and he was active. I mean, Dylan Lobb was actually active. We didn't see any touches from him, but I haven't ranked him. As far as Alexander Madison, I'm at running back 29. That's in that Rico Dowdle, Trey Sermon type of area, with certain players going up and down based on being active and whatnot. And of course, Devontae Adams he's not playing today with that. I'm going to do this properly. Hamstring injury. He has a hammy, guys. I didn't know hammy was contractually related, but here we are. It's week 6. It's chaos time. But apparently he may now stay with Vegas. I don't know. The theatrics needs to stop, okay? Because I need to know what to do with Garrett Wilson in some leagues. You feel me? Looks like Nick Chubb will play in week 7. He's had a slew of limited practices now these last 2 weeks. So he's going to be active to play. I'm not actively shopping to buy. I actually traded him away in a league. It just feels to me as if it's going to be a ramp up period for him. And then the offensive line sucks. The offense kind of sucks. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of excitement into Nick Chubb until I kind of see it. But, you know, it is cool to see one of the better runners in the league be back healthy, come back next week. So I am excited to see that. And of course, everyone leave your comments in the chat. We're going to dive into all the questions. I just want to first and foremost say shout out. I know everything's kind of crazy this week, but shout out to Harry Snowman, Big Corey, Dynasty Barry, AB's in the chat. Shout out to the Mighty Boosh, Dylan, AO1. Good morning. Hey, thank you guys so much. And it sounds like DB, thank you for that. Thank you. The audio sounds good. Cody said it was a bizarro land. I'm usually seeing it from your point of view, looking at him. Now I'm here in the point of view. He's got a nice setup. Kid's got a nice setup. Like it a lot. Michael Pittman is good to go. He went from IR to not on the injury report. Love to see it though. Get him on the field. Don't know if I love seeing Anthony Richardson back. That's been a bit of an issue when getting the playmakers the ball. Josh Downs is expected to play. He's been dealing with a toe issue. David Montgomery signed an extension to stay on the Lions. Of course, we love that. There haven't been many fits in terms of player going into a new team that has worked so well as DeMont going to the Lions. So that's awesome. See, this week I have him as a top 10 play. Him and Gibbs are both top 10 plays against a really bad Dallas Cowboy defense, a defense that's been really advantageous for opposing running backs. So I really do love the signing, love the sentiment that tells the player from the team and all that good stuff. So that's exciting. Now it seems like Gabe Davis will be active. Who cares? Now something else, his teammate that we're very excited about, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram will make his return since week 1. in about 20 minutes in London, baby, as the Jaguars take on the Bears in London. That'll be exciting to see him get back on the field. Trevor Lawrence is one of his most targeted players last year, but what I am most curious to see about Evan Ingram is how does the new downfield attack that they have been deploying, how does that look? How does that work for Evan Ingram, guy who had so many targets? But this week, I'm being conservative in my rankings. I have him at tight end 13. You can make an argument that he could potentially slide into the top 12, a spot up or so. But right now, I'm being a little bit cautious because it feels like the new way about business in Jacksonville is chuck it deep, get it to BTJ, make things happen. It's been a bad week for Jacoby Myers rosterers because he's gone from healthy to questionable. Now, doubtful. Looks like he will not play in that game against the Steelers this afternoon. Devin Singletary was ruled out. So if you held on to Tyrone Tracy, let's effing go. We're going to get another week of Tyrone Tracy. Let's see if that 100-yard game was a fluke or if he just has the skills to pay the bills. I'm actually excited about this in our dynasty leagues. Audric Estime was activated from the IR. Now we'll see if he's still carrying that questionable tag, but I'd like to see how they work him into that backfield. Now Javante's been good. Jaleel McLaughlin now has a couple touchdowns in a row, and to be honest, Estime, I just don't know if he's gonna get he's just gonna call me in here and muck things up. I think I got Javante as a top 20 play this week. Even if Estime is active, I still keep him inside the top 20. But I am at 17, so I'm not overly excited about Javante. Harbaugh and the Clippers, the Chargers coming off a bye and whatnot. So I'm not overly excited for that matchup, but it's cool to see Estime come in, a player that I liked in the offseason. Tyler Conklin for our tight end thirsty brethren. He's questionable, but he should play on Monday night. Brian Robinson, of course, is out. Gus Edwards was put on IR. Kimani Vidal, anyone? Apparently, he's been sitting on some sort of spring. I think I don't know if it's like the Jackass movie. They put the airbag underneath it. Saints activated Kendre Miller from injured reserve, but in our seasonal formats, we're not really touching that yet. We're not too excited about all that. Joe Mixon plans to play this week. That is good news against the Patriots. He should get a lot of work right away. I thought he'd come back 2 weeks ago. It's taken a little bit longer for him to get healthy, but he's been activated. I mean, he should be active and play today. Roman Wilson will hopefully see some field action today. He's been a healthy scratch for the last 4 weeks after hurting his ankle in the offseason and missing game one due to the injury, but then he's kind of been benched after that. And then, of course, all the other inactives that we've already known about. The Malik Neighbors being out, which sucks. We know James Cook is looking like he is going to suit up on Monday night. I want to end it with here because this is a big deal for rankings, for decision making, for week 6. Jalen Warren was not only upgraded to questionable, he was removed from the injury report, people. I didn't think he was going to play this week, and now he's not even on the injury report. And what does that mean for Najee Harris? It's not a good thing. It's not good for Najee. I still have Najee inside my top 24, but I had him at 18, and now I'm dropping him to RB 24 behind Antonio Gibson, right in that Zach Moss, Austin Eckler, and Jalen Warren. He's actually going to preview into the ranks. He's going to come right in. Now that he has no injury tag, he's going to be right in that Roshan Johnson, Tajay Spears range. With Rashad White doubtful, this would be a nice pivot. Jalen Warren, he's probably a free agent in most leagues. Actually, let me check the rostership on Warren because he was a player that, of course, was rostered everywhere. And then he was just being out for so long, kind of felt like the forgotten man. He's pretty widely available in ESPN leagues, only 45% rostered. So you can get him in most spots on ESPN platforms. And Jalen Warren to me is a player that's, I mean, I don't know for sure. It feels like his style, his running ability, the way he kind of will, I think he'll benefit more from that run blocking scheme that Arthur Smith's kind of been using, probably better than Najee. And I love Najee coming this year. I thought Najee was going to be an absolute beast this year. And it just really hasn't happened. Uh, but if I knew the touch share, if I knew what was happening, man, I if I could know just one thing, if I could just predict the future, close my eyes and just see the future for one thing, it might be how that that distribution goes between the running backs, because the Raiders defense stinks, stinks against the run. So if there will be opportunity for the Raiders to pound the rock, to run the rock. Is it Najee or is it going to be Jalen Warren? So Jalen Warren premieres on my ranks at running back 34. And then, of course, Najee, I said at 24. So there it is. We're going to go in and answer some questions here. It's going to be a little bit, a little bit shorter, a little condensed episode today. One, because I'm traveling. Two, because the London game, I want to make sure that everyone can go and check that game out, make sure that their rosters and stuff ready. But we got some things in the chat. Let's get this for Cap for Life. Good morning, ladies and good morning to you, Cap. 14-team PPR league, flex spot. Gibson, Antonio Gibson, Adonai Mitchell, Dalton Schultz, Xavier Leggett, who is active, and then some thoughts on Vidal. So I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson here. I like Gibson. I have Gibson at running back 23 this week. Houston's defense against the run is like a middle of the road. So right around the 12th. It's not great against for running backs, but it's not horrific against the running backs, and they'll have a slight advantage. The Patriots offense in terms of offense versus the Texans defense, and I think that this game with Drake May at the helm, there's so many variables we don't know about, but comeback mode may be activated, and that's going to be great for a guy like Antonio Gibson, a guy who can catch the ball. So I'm going to go with Gibson in that flex spot now. Now, my thoughts on Vidal. If you have JK, you should pick him up. I like Vidal. I thought Kimani Vidal coming into the season was, one of those end of draft type guys. You need to have him on your team type players, and then he was just kind of set aside. He was just kind of forgotten about. But he's a player that when you look at his size, 5'8", 213, that plays in the NFL. 4.46 40 time, 88 percentile speed score, strong player, agile player, massive producer in college. I know it was a smaller school, but 1,600 yards is a lot of freaking yards. And he's a player I think that's going to be, if given the opportunity, he's someone that Harbaugh and Greg Roman would love. So I think you got to pick him up if you have JK. For sure. You got to make sure that you pick him up, because this is the type of player, if you can get him now too, I would suggest to everyone, if Vidal is out there in your drafts, you got to pick him up, because he's a fab destroyer. Okay. If something happens to J.K. Dobbins during this game, Kimani Vidal is going to explode. You have to break the freaking bank. So try to get ahead of it if possible. That would be the best way to go about it. Harry Snowman, what's going on? Smash that like button. Please smash that like button. I'll miss those 3 to 4 points. Yeah, that's exactly right. 6-point passing touchdowns. Should A-Rich, Caleb, or Goff? So in my rankings, I love Goff this week. Now, I had Flacco ranked at QB 16 with Anthony Richardson coming in. He's going to move up to quarterback 13, but that is still going to be behind Goff, and it's going to be behind Caleb Williams. I have Caleb at 11, Goff at 10. I'm going to go with Goff over Caleb. So I'd play Goff in this situation. The reason is, I like Caleb this week. I do. I think Caleb's a good play if you need to use him after what we saw last week. We saw him have his best game as a pro last week, score 3 touchdowns. He had a really strong fantasy game last week. But the matchup is, it's not really the matchup, the setting can create issues. It's not always the best for these guys to go across the pond and play in London, whereas the atmosphere, the matchup, everything is so juicy for Goff against Dallas in the highest over under, 50-point over under this week. It's a chance for Goff to go berserk, a chance for this team to really score a ton of fantasy points. So yeah, Dylan, let's go with Jared Goff here in the 4 o'clock slate, and then you can sit back and just relax, get the coffee going, and enjoy the 9:30 start here in London. So you don't have to worry so much. Scott Fishbowl, Trey Tucker, Pop Douglas, or Mims returns don't do much. Yes. I would say Pop Douglas. He's been getting a lot of targets, and Drake May hopefully can cash in on some of those targets, make those targets a little bit more juicy. In terms of my rankings, I have Pop Douglas at wide receiver 44. In this where Tucker, I have a little bit lower. Trey Tucker at 52 now. I'm actually see this. I'm thinking out loud here. I might actually go Trey Tucker now. But here's the thing: with Devontae out, with Jacoby Myers out, is it better for Trey Tucker? Do we want Trey Tucker to go against Joey Porter Jr.? Do we want Trey Tucker to be the number one wide receiver? I don't know if that doesn't. I'm still gonna go Pop Douglas, even though with those guys out, Trey Tucker is more appealing. But doesn't this just seem like an absolute ass kicking from the Steelers? A slow paced game, like just a slog. I don't know. I don't think I like it that those guys are out. It's gonna be a lot of Brock Bowers though. Holy shit, it's gonna be a lot of Brock Bowers. He was my tight end one coming into the week, and he will stay there, no doubt about it. Michael Pittman decoy game, man. That's a great call. It's a great call. You've got some fun. You can stay in the chat. Shout out to you and making the chat awesome. The Zamir White joke, and this is a great point. I do have him ranked at wide receiver 18, but I think I need to drop him. I think I need to drop him below Chris Olave. I'm going to drop him below Olave. So if he's going to be wide receiver 26, I think that's possible. If you could make other arrangements, I would. It's just weird to go from this guy's going to be on the IR. He's going to be on the IR to all of a sudden, he's healthy. No injury designation. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Top of the AM, we are picking up Miller or Vidal rest of season. Give me Vidal. Give me Vidal over Kendra. I'm assuming Kendra and Miller. The hurdle to becoming like a bona fide starter, a real difference maker in fantasy. Obviously, getting past J.K. Dobbins is one thing. He's been playing great this year, so I'm not going to say that it's going to be an easy task, but usurping both Alvin Kamara and then don't forget Jamal Williams isn't going anywhere. Jamal Williams is not going anywhere, so I'm going to pick up Vidal the rest of the season. He traded Garrett. Okay, we're talking to John Stamos. What's up, John? John Stamos. We just come best friend. Traded Garrett Wilson for Bowers in 2 seconds. I like it. Non-TPDM. Yeah, if you have the wide receivers, I would definitely do that. And if Devontae goes there, I mean, his 2024 value is going to really take a hit. Bowers is a difference maker. The 2 seconds, you can use those. I kind of like getting those fun coupons this time of year because all of a sudden, when team goes into rebuild mode, all of a sudden you can get started running back potentially with a second. So I like that trade. Good move, John Stamos, and great name. Pick one, full point PPR, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur. If he plays a Romeo Dubes, I'm going to go Dubes. I'm not going to wait for Monday night to make the decision between the two. I'm just going to go with Dubes here today. I have him as a top 40 play. Packers playing against the Cardinals, high over under, potential for a lot of points to be scored in that affair. So I'm going to go with Dubes here. And does he get a squeaky wheel game? Does he get a squeaky wheel game? He might. He just might. He was went AWOL last week. Apparently, the rumor is, and I heard this from my man Cody here. Oh, look who's up. We need some electrolytes. Come here. Come say hi to the people in the game plan. No shirt at all. I got this thing set. Hey, Cody. Cody's up. Cody's ready to rock and roll. And I'm gonna go Dubes. Squeaky wheel game. Let's go Dubes. Tyler Goodson or Jeremy McNichols with Brian Robinson out. Go with McNichols. I'm going to go with McNichols here. See, the thing about McNichols, now obviously it's better off for Robinson to be out for McNichols to get any type of play. But the thing about Jeremy McNichols, it's kind of shocking. But my man's got 3 touchdowns on the season. 3. Including one last week when Brian Robinson was healthy. Brian Robinson scored 2 touchdowns last week. McNichols scored 1 on 7 carries. And the last time there was this was Austin Eckler being out, but a running back being out, creating opportunity. McNichols had 20 fantasy points. And I'm going to chase that. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but I also want a piece of that Beltway pie. Okay. Washington Commanders at Baltimore Ravens, the battle of the Beltway. We got a 51.5 over under. We got a 6.5 point underdog projection for the Commanders. Could be a lot of opportunities for catch up, for back and forth. I don't know how that game's going to go, but I certainly know this. I am breaking most ties in favor of the players in that game. So, Dynasty Bear, if you're talking about Goodson or McNichols, I'm going to go with McNichols. And right now I have him ranked. He's going to crack. He's going to be in that Justice Hill Roshan Johnson. He's gonna be right around running back 30 for me. And you can go over to South Harmon FF.com to get the rankings. Right after the show, I will do my final update, getting everything scheduled out. So if you go when you're watching the London game, head over to the South Harmon FF.com, and then you can check out my final rankings. I have Kamara, Bijan, Hunt, Chubb, Jay Brooks, Bucky. Okay, humble brag, JB, but I love it. With Kendre Miller and Taysom Hill coming back eventually, should I trade Kamara for another running back like A-Chain or Jonathan Taylor, or stay put? Now, I would. You could also. I think what a good move might be here because of this running back depth, JB, is take Kamara, tear down. You don't necessarily have to shoot for A-Chain or Jonathan Taylor. I would tear down and try to add a receiver, add another piece to your build here, because you don't you Bijan, Hunt, and Chubb could carry a lot for this squad. Hunt ain't going nowhere, and I know he's on a bye this week, and of course it's gonna be tough for you to make a trade today before these games kick off. But man, Hunt looked freaking good for the Chiefs. I don't know. The rich get richer, I guess. You can just do whatever the hell you want when you're the Chiefs. So maybe look at that. Like the range maybe you could shoot here is, could you get Chase Brown for Kamara plus Darnell Mooney? Could you get Javonte Williams plus Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson? How can you finagle that? Because Kamara is going to have a lot of value. So I would look down tier a bit at running back and then get that second piece instead of shooting for a 1-for-1 replacement like A-Chain or Taylor. But I think it is a crafty move to start exploring. I don't think he loses a lot with those guys coming back. It's Alvin Kamara, and I think what might hurt him the most is this whole if what Spencer Rattler could do. I don't know. And I just want to remind everyone, tune in. Shout out to everyone who's hanging out here early morning for the game plan. The NFL first game in London's about to kick off, so we're gonna keep going until there's no more questions, and then that'll be the episode for this week. Like I said, it's a crazy week. I'm on the road trying to got it set up. So glad that I did, so I could come hang out with you guys for a little bit. But Cody and I have a bet. We talked about in the walkthrough. Hopefully you check out the walkthrough. Fantasy points. Drake May versus Spencer Rattler. The loser has to do something today. We're going to let the vibes tell us. Going to be probably alcohol drinking related or something. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to have that contest. So Drake May, people. Drake May. Alec Pierce or Michael Wilson. Half point PPR, 2 points for 40-yard receiving bonus. Ooh. I'm going to go with Michael Wilson here because he also has some deep ball skills. And as much as Alec Pierce kind of had a rapport going deep with Anthony Richardson, the fact that Downs will be playing, Pittman will be playing, I just don't want to bet on the deep ball to Pierce when you could get a guy like Michael Wilson, who is a top 40 wide receiver for me this week. Again, getting a little piece of this Arizona Green Bay. That's a game that I kind of want to attack. Over under 47. The way the Cardinals played last week, the way Kyler Murray played last week, I think there's an opportunity for a lot of fantasy points. So I'm going to go with Michael Wilson here. Lawrence or A-Rich? I'm going to go A-Rich. I hate Trevor Lawrence this week. Hate. Hopefully you can make the swap. I know the game's about to kick off in about 1 minute, Robo Chris. So get on that. Get over there, Chris. Get over there right now. A-Rich. I do not like Trevor Lawrence this week against the Bears in London. Should I trade? Oh, yep. We already talked about that. JB. Here we go. Gonna start Lawrence. Oh, okay. Going at 9:30. This is what Mighty Boosh is saying. You're gonna go Lawrence? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Tony G or Brees Hall. Wow. Fantasy comes at you fast. But I'm gonna go Brees here. I'm gonna go one more week of Brees. I got my running back one. Okay, the matchup's juicy on Monday night. The Bills give up a lot of fantasy points to receivers. To running backs. I'm going to go Brees. If Brees doesn't do it in this matchup, primetime, Monday Night Football, he's going to now I'm going to have to rank him more appropriately. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But when I see a guy like Brees Hall going against that matchup, this isn't the week I'm going to favor. So I'm going to go Brees Hall here. 14-team PPR flex, Tank Dell or Trey Sermon. That's interesting. That is an interesting play, but I'm going to go with Tank Dell. something in my gut says that Tank Dell makes some big plays against the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez is going to be tasked with Stephon Diggs. I also love Diggs this week. But for me, I got Tank Dell at wide receiver 20. And I think he could creep up even a little bit higher, maybe like wide receiver 18, maybe swap him up, maybe move him higher a little bit. Something in my gut says that Tank Dell has a big game. So I'm going to go Dell here. Pick 2, Jalen Warren, Michael Wilson, or Romeo Dubes. Well, I'm definitely going Dubes. I'm going to go Wilson. This is PPR, so you get the points. I'm not quite ready to lace it up for Jalen Warren just quite yet. I'm excited to see kind of how it plays out, but I'm not with these options. Let me go Michael Wilson and let me go Romeo Dubes for sure. Pick 2, Zach Moss, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, woof. Man, he is absolutely tanked down in the rankings. I got him at wide receiver 36, and that's kind of high in comparison to consensus. But in terms of, let's sort through the running back situation for the Bengals. I'm going to go Brown over Moss. Got Brown ranked higher. It feels as if the tide is turning in Cincinnati, where Chase Brown is being utilized the way we were hoping he would, right? The way that we were hoping to see him now. He still really hasn't gotten over that 40-something% snap share. Last week was at 39%, but the carries, he's seen some red zone carries. He's running a bunch of routes. He's at 15 routes run over the last 2 weeks. He's gotten 6 targets, and he's just producing on it. He's been very efficient. So I'm gonna keep going with that. And then, of course, with Zach Moss being a little banged up, maybe we do finally see that snap share for Brown get over the 45% marker, start pushing 50, and really, really, really can get excited about this. I'm going to go Chase Brown, and then I'm going to go with Rico Dowdle. I'm going to go with Rico Dowdle, and the defense for, Detroit's run defense is tough, but again, 50-point over under. CeeDee Lamb gets a pass interference in the end zone type situation. There's a number of ways where he can absolutely produce. So I'm going to go Rico Dowdle and Chase Brown here. Big Corey 12 team PPR. He needs a flex play. Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, or Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker must die. I'm going to go Chase Brown. I'm going to go with Chase Brown. Fizzle dollars in the chat. Game plan over game day. And I'm going to break the fourth wall here. I'm going to do a little inside baseball. Fizzle Dollars is an absolute ace. Fizzle Dollars is an MVP. Like I said, I'm on the road, so I didn't know exactly how I can get live. Or if I could go live, I was trying to get the setup with Cody, trying to help me out get set up. I didn't even communicate. That's on me. But Fizz still got the tweet out, still doing his thing on socials. Fizz, you're an absolute legend, dog. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everything you do for South Harmon. You are the man. Dirty Bird, Matty Rome, or Trey Sermon. Already starting DJM. Go with Sermon. Hopefully you made that before the game started. Go with Sermon. Pop Douglas, no, go with Sermon. I like Sermon there. Need help? Pick 2 half-point PPR. Dobbins, Hawkins, Tyrone, Tracy, Tajay Spears. Definitely going to go Tracy. And, excuse me. I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins here. I'm going to go little DeAndre Hopkins. Something tells me coming out of the bye, going against Indianapolis, I think DeAndre Hopkins performs pretty well. But I'm definitely going to go Tracy. Tracy, and then I have Dobbins. All right, I'll put it to you this way, and I know I hate giving advice this way, but sometimes you got to make the final call on yourself. If you want to go with my rankings, go with Dobbins. But if you want to go with my gut, D-Hop, baby, D-Hop. Half-point PPR, GW. What's up, GW? Chase Brown, Lad McConkey, Darius Slayton, or Chris Olave. Need 2. I'm gonna go with Olave and Chase Brown here. I do like McConkey, though. I got McConkey at wide receiver. I just saw at wide receiver 29, but I have Olave a little bit higher. I'm going to go Olave, but it is a little nerve-wracking, I could tell. Let's go with Caleb Williams. Game already started, so I hope you got him in, but I'm going to go Caleb. Drizzy Drake. Shit, gang, last minute. Yes, John Mullins. I am sorry. It's the last minute. I'm on the road, but we'll make it happen. I'm stressing too, brother. I'm stressing too. Start 2, BTJ, Garrett Wilson, Tracy, or Zay Flowers. Holy shit, that's a pretty good. Damn. That's pretty good. Definitely going Zay Flowers. I want a piece of the Beltway battle. No doubt. And in the BTJ or Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna go. I love BTJ this week. I do. I have him ranked quite high. Wide receiver 13. But I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson here. Uh, Fields or Kyler Murray, pick one. I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray. Also, pick one of Deontay, Wandale, or Shaheed. I'm going Deontay. So I'm going Kyler and Deontay. Pick two, Chase Brown, McConkey. Okay, we got that one. We got it. PPR Ford, Algier, or Dare Ngumbuwale. Go with Jerome Ford. Yeah, yes. Get those pinkies up, baby. Mixon, Gibson, Tracy, and PPR. Got to sit one. I am sitting. Wow. I'm going to sit Gibson. Tracy has a good matchup Sunday Night Football. Plus, I want to go to the Final Fizz. And then Mixon feels like he's going to be healthy, so I'm going to go with that. Jaden Daniels. Give me JD. I got Jaden Daniels, my number 2 quarterback this week. Super chat. Oh, thank you so much. Kyler, Love, or Cousins at quarterback. And then, of course, any super chats. I will stay on all day. If you got super chats, phone me. Here, we're going to go with the rankings. I got Kyler Murray ranked at 7. I got Cousins ranked at 12. And I got Jordan Love at QB4. So give me Jordan Love. I love this matchup for Mr. Love. Home game against the Cardinals. So let's go with Mr. Jordan Love. Jordan Love. And premium Pittman or McNichols got to pick one. I'm not going to go with Pittman here. I'm going to go with Pitts. Let's go with Pitts. Let's take advantage of that 1.5 TEP. And let's hope that he can bounce, kind of build off of that huge Thursday night game. How's South Carolina? South Carolina is beautiful. Charleston is beautiful. It is really nice down here. We've really enjoyed it. Wear his Raphael Donatello costume for Halloween event today. Ooh, Raphael, bad boy. Go with the bad boy. The size, go with Raph. Now, if you had Michelangelo, here's my favorite. Obviously, you could probably tell that Michelangelo and my personality seems to link up quite a bit. So I would go with Michelangelo if possible. But between these two, go with Raphael, the bad boy. Yes, thank you. Really appreciate it. So I'll stand here for a couple more minutes. Oh, yes, morning football beers. I'm gonna crack one with this. $5 super chat. Shout out to you, Mighty Bush. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Like I said, it's a bit of a crazy episode, a little bit of a haphazard episode. So just the fact that you guys are rocking with me, able to talk football here early morning, you guys are the best. But also make sure you come back to the channel at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour before the main slate kicks off. We have Start or Shit. Eric Vanek and company are joining to answer all the rest of your questions. Get those lineups dialed in. So make sure you come back to the South Harmon FF YouTube channel at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Start or Shit. But I just got to say, shout out to morning football beers, baby. Or a little Irish coffee. I don't know what I'm going to have, but I'm on vacation. So I'm going to have something. I'm going to partake in some sort of adult beverage early in the morning. Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Trey Sermon, Rico Dowdle. How would I rank these in half-point PPR? I think you just did. I think you did, Gooner Boy. I would go Chase Brown and then Javonte, then Trey Sermon, and then Rico Dowdle in half-point PPR. But all of them will fall inside of my top 30 for running backs. And like I said, head over to southharmonff.com and get the final iteration of my weekly rankings right after this show ends, as I'm having a morning beer with my when I'm cheersing, when I'm having a morning beer. And then I'll get those rankings dialed. And also, too, you got to make sure that you're signing up at patreon.com/South Harmon, get in the Discord, become a member, sign up for the Warp Tool. We got so much going on, but the Warp Tool now is where you can absolutely demolish your league mates. Find out how players are truly valued relative to their position, relative to other positions. Go ahead to the Warp Tool, get that today. And I said, of course, join the Patreon, patreon.com/South Harmon, get in the Discord, because the boys be talking all day long. It's truly a blast. Start 2, DeAndre Hopkins, McConkey, Trey Tucker, Slayton. Would you sit Evans, any of one of these options? No, I'm not. I just can't sit Evans. I know he has a bit of a back and forth with Marshawn Lattimore, but it's Mike Evans. And even with that, I do have him a little bit lower than I typically have him ranked, but still wide receiver 16. So I'm going to start him for sure. I'm going to go with McConkey, and I'm going to go with Hopkins here. Slayton is interesting if you want to get the final fizz, but I just think your other options are too good. You know what? Actually, I will go Hopkins and Slayton. Let's get that final fizz out there. So yeah, that's it. That's gonna be the episode. 35 minutes. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for rocking with me over the morning. Everybody in the chat, Mighty Boosh, Dynasty Barry, Geis is in there. I see George and that Keith had a question. Jose's out there. Nick, Jake, and Cody slipped me off from the balcony here. We're having fun. But I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to the game plan. Head over to southharmonff.com. Get that warp tool. Check out the rankings, the articles, everything going on there. South Harmon FF on YouTube. We got all these shows coming out. We just keep cranking them out. We are in full-fledged season, so thank you so much for that. Like this video, leave a comment. I will come back, answer any questions you have, and of course, come back to the channel 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Start or Shit with Eric Vanek and everyone else that's joining that today. Is going to be freaking awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tapping in. E-Will, shout out to you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for joining. I'm Matty Kiwoom. Keep game planning, my friends. See you next week. Peace.